remembering the beautiful form, qualities, and pastimes of Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta, which will satisfy the mind. Everyone's looking for an object that will satisfy his or her senses, but only the transcendental form of the Lord will satisfy the innermost desire of every living entity by beholding it. Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Gaurahari. Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Gaurahari. Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Gaurahari. Ujvaravarana Gauravardeham Vilasita Niravadhi Bhava Videham. Sri Bhuvana Pavana Kripayalesham Tam Pranamami Cha Śrī Caitanya. Bhuvana Pavana Kripayalesham Tam Pranamami Cha Śrī Caitanya. Gadgadantara Bhava Vikaram Durjana Tarjana Nada Vishalam. Bhavapaya Bhajana Karana Karunam Tam Pranamami Cha Śrī Caitanya. Arunam Paratara Charu Kapolam Induvinindita Nakachaya Ruchiram. Arunam Paratara Charu Kapolam Induvinindita Nakachaya Ruchiram. Jalpita Nijaguna Nama Vinodam Tam Pranamami Cha Śrī Caitanya. Jalpita Nijaguna Nama Vinodam Tam Pranamami Cha Śrī Caitanya. Vigalitandayana Kamala Jaladharam Bhushana Navarasa Bhava Vikaram. Katiyati Mantana Nritya Vilasam Tam Pranamami Cha Śrī Caitanya. Katiyati Mantana Nritya Vilasam Tam Pranamami Cha Śrī Caitanya. Chanchala Charu Charana Tiruchiram Manjira Ranjita Parajuga Maduram. Chandra Vinandita Shitalaram Tam Pranamami Cha Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. Jritakati Dora Kamandalu Dandam Divya Kalevara Mundita Mundam Durjana Kalmasha Kandana Dandam Tam Pranamami Cha Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. Bhushana Bhuraja Lakavalitam Kampita Bimdhara Vararuchira Malaya Javira Chitta Ujjwalatilakam Tam Pranamami Cha Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. Malaya Javira Chitta Ujjwalatilakam Tam Pranamami Cha Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. Nindita Aruna Kamaladala Ajanulam Pita Shri Puja Jugalam Talevara Kaishora Nartaka Desham Tam Pranamami Cha Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. Talevara Kaishora Nartaka Desham Tam Pranamami Cha Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. Ujjvala Varana Kura Varadeham Ilasita Niravadhi Baba Videham Tribhuvana Pavana Kripaya Lesham Tam Pranamami Cha Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. Tribhuvana Pavana Kripaya Lesham Tam Pranamami Cha Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. Jaya Sachinandana Jaya Sachinandana Jaya Sachinandana Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Sachinandana Jaya Sachinandana Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Thai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Thai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Śrī Caitanya-Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadahmayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Śrī Caitanya-Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadahmayam Swapadantikam Adadanastradantantaridandyache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Tulisyam Janma Janmani. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We're continuing with our reading of the Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta, starting at the Adi Lila, chapter 4. We're taking up at text number 72. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavita Bis Tabirye Vanijarupa Takala Taya Kalabi Goloke Eva Nivasatya Kilat Mabuto Govindamari Purusham Tamaham. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who resides in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, who resembles his own spiritual figure and who embodies the ecstatic potency, Hladini. Their companions are her confidants, who embody extensions of her bodily form and who are imbued and permeated with ever blissful spiritual rasa. This text is from the Brahma Samhita. Krishna re karaya jache rasa asvadana kridara sahaya jache shuna vivarana. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Now please listen to how Lord Krishna's consorts help him taste rasa and how they help him in his pastimes. Krishna Kanta Gana Deki Trivida Prakar Ek Lakshmi Gana Puri Mahishikna Ar Jagannabha Aro Kanta Gana Saro Śrī Radhika Hoite Kanta Gunera Vistara. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. The beloved consorts of Lord Krishna are of three kinds: the goddesses of fortune, the queens, and the milkmaids of Vraja, who are the foremost of all. These consorts all proceed from Radhika. Avatari Krishna Caitanya Avatar Amshini Radha Hoite Tino Gunera Vistar. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Just as the fountainhead, Lord Krishna, is the cause of all incarnations, so Sri Radha is the cause of all these consorts. Vai Baba Ganajina Tar Anga Bimba Pratibimba Rupa Mahashiratati. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The goddesses of fortune are partial manifestations of Srimati Radhika, and the queens are reflections of her image. Lakshmi Ganatar Vaibhav Vilamsha Rup Mahishi Ganavaiba Prakasha Swarup. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The goddesses of fortune are her plenary portions, and they display the forms of Vaibhava Vilas. The queens are of the nature of her Vaibhava Prakash. Akara Sabhava Vedi Vrajadevi Gano Kaya Vyuharupata Rasera Karana. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The Vrajadevis have diverse bodily features. They are her expansions and are the instruments for expanding rasa. Bahu Kanta Vina Nahi Rasera Ulasa Lilara Sahaya Lagi Bahuta Prakasha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Without many consorts, there is not such exaltation in rasa. Therefore, there are many manifestations of Srimati Radharani to assist in the Lord's pastimes. Taramadye Vrajanana Bhavarasa Bede Krishna Ke Karaya Rasadika Lila Sware. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Among them are various groups of consorts in Vraja who have varieties of sentiments and mellows. They help Lord Krishna taste all the sweetness of the rasa dance and other pastimes. Purport. As already explained, Krishna and Radha are one in two. They are identical. Krishna expands himself in multi-incarnations and plenary portions like the Purushas. Similarly, Srimati Radharani expands herself in multi-forms as the goddesses of fortune, the queens, and the damsels of Vraja. Such expansions from Srimati Radharani are all her plenary portions. All these womanly forms of Krishna are expansions corresponding to his plenary expansions of Vishnu forms. These expansions have been compared to reflected forms of the original form. There is no difference between the original form and the reflected forms. The female reflections of Krishna's pleasure potency are as good as Krishna himself. The plenary expansions of Krishna's personality are called Vaibhava Vilas and Vaibhava Prakash, and Radha's expansions are similarly described. The goddesses of fortune are her Vaibhava Vilas forms, and the queens are her Vaibhava Prakash forms. The personal associates of Radharani, the damsels of Vraja, are direct expansions of her body. As expansions of her personal form and transcendental disposition, they are agents of different reciprocations of love in the pastimes of Lord Krishna, under the supreme direction of Srimati Radharani. In the transcendental realm, enjoyment is fully relished in variety. The exuberance of transcendental mellows is increased by the association of a large number of personalities, similar to Radharani, who are also known as gopis or sakhis. The variety of innumerable mistresses is a source of relish for Sri Krishna, and therefore these expansions from Srimati Radharani are necessary for enhancing the pleasure potency of Sri Krishna. Their transcendental exchanges of love are the super excellent affairs of the pastimes in Vrindavan. By these expansions of Srimati Radharani's personal body, she helps Lord Krishna taste the rasa dance and other similar activities. Srimati Radharani, being the central petal of the Rasa Leela flower, is also known by the names found in the following verses. Govinda Nandini Radha, Govinda Mohini, Govinda Sarvasya Sarvakanti Shiranoni. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Govinda Anandini, she who gives pleasure to Govinda. Radha, Srimati Radharani. Govinda Mohini, she who mystifies Govinda. Govinda Sarvasva, the be-all and end-all of Lord Govinda. Sarvakanta, of all the Lord's lovers. Shiromani, the crown jewel. Radha is the one who gives pleasure to Govinda, and she is also the enchantress of Govinda. She is the be-all and end-all of Govinda and the crest jewel of all his consorts. Devi Krishna Mayi Prokta Radhika Devata Sarva Lakshmi Mayi Sarva Kanti Samohini Pura. The transcendental goddess Srimati Radharani is the direct counterpart of Lord Shri Krishna. She is the central figure for all the goddesses of fortune. She possesses all the attractiveness to attract the all-attractive personality of Godhead. She is the primeval internal potency of the Lord. Purport. This text is from the Brihad Gautamiya Tantra. Devi kahi daito mana paramasundari kimba Krishna puja kitar vasati nidari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Devi means resplendent and most beautiful, or else it means the lovely abode of the worship and love sports of Lord Krishna. Krishna Mayi Krishna Jar Pitari Vyahare Jahar Jahar Naitrapare Kaha Krishna Spure. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Mayi means one who's within and without our Lord Krishna. She sees Lord Krishna wherever she casts her glance. Kimva prema rasa maya Krishna raswaru tar shakti tar saha hare ekaru. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Or Krishna Mayi means that she is identical with Lord Krishna, for she embodies the mellows of love. The energy of Lord Krishna is identical with him. Purport. Krishna Mayi has two different imports. First, a person who always thinks of Krishna both within and without, and who always remembers only Krishna wherever he goes or whatever he sees, is called Krishna Mayi. Also, since Krishna's personality is full of love, his loving potency Radharani, being non-different from him, is called Krishna Mayi. Krishna vancha purti rupakare aradhane athaiva radhika nam purane vakane. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Her worship, aradhana, consists of fulfilling the desires of Lord Krishna. Therefore, the Puranas call her Radhika. Purport: the name Radha is derived from the root word aradhana, which means worship. The personality who excels all in worshipping Krishna may therefore be called Radhika, the greatest servitor. Anayaratito nunam Bhagavan Haririshvaraha Yanno vihaya vinda Prito yamanayagraha. Truly, the personality of Godhead has been worshipped by her. Therefore, Lord Govinda, being pleased, has brought her to a lonely spot, leaving us all behind. This text is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:30-28. Taiva sarva puja parama devata sarva palika sarva jakata mata. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Therefore, Radha is Parama Devata, the supreme goddess, and she is worshipable for everyone. She is the protectress of all, and she is the mother of the entire universe. Sarva Lakti Sarva Lakti Sarva Pure Kariyate Vakyan Sarva Lakti Guner Iho Hana Adishtana. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I've already explained the meaning of Sarva Lakshmi. Radha is the original source of all the goddesses of fortune. Kimba Sarva Lakshmi Krishnera Sadvidashvai. Kimba Sarva Lakshmi Krishnera Shadvidha Aishvarya. Tar Adish Tatri Shakti Sarva Shakti Varya. Or Sarva Lakshmi indicates that she fully represents the 6 opulences of Krishna. Therefore, she is the supreme energy of Lord Krishna. Sarva Saundarya Kanti Vashaya Jahate Sarva Lakshmi Gunera Shobha Hoya Jaharhate. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The word Sarvakanti indicates that all beauty and luster rest in her body. All the Lakshmis derive their beauty from her. Kimva Kanti Shabda Krishnera Shaba Ichakahe Krishnera Sakala Vansha Aditate Rahe. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Kanti may also mean all the desires of Lord Krishna. All the desires of Lord Krishna rest in Srimati Radharani. Radhika Karina Krishnera Vanchita Purana Sarva Kanti Shabdir E Artha Vivarana. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srimati Radhika fulfills all the desires of Lord Krishna. This is the meaning of Sarvakanti. Jagat Mohan Krishna Tahar Mohini Ataiva Samastera Para Thakurani. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Lord Krishna enchants the world, but Sri Radha enchants even him. Therefore, she is the supreme goddess of all. Radha Purna Shakti Krishna Purna Shakti Man. Dui Vastu Beda Nai Shastra Parama. Śrī Radha is the full power, and Lord Krishna is the possessor of full power. The two are not different, as evidenced by the revealed scriptures. Mriga Mada Tarakanda Jaichi Aviched Agni Jwalate Jaiche Kabu Nahide. They are indeed the same, just as musk and its scent are inseparable, or as fire and its heat are non-different. Radha Krishna Aiche Sada Ika E Swarup Lila Rasa Asvadite Dare Dui Rup. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thus Radha and Krishna are one, yet they have taken two forms to enjoy the mellows of pastimes. Prema Bhakti Shikaite Apani Avatari Radha Baba Kanti Dui Angi Kari Kari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Rupe Koila Avatar Eta Panchama Shlokera Arto Parachar. To promulgate Prema Bhakti, devotional service and love of Godhead, Krishna appeared as Shri Krishna Chaitanya with the mood and complexion of Śrī Radha. Thus I have explained the meaning of the 5th verse. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. To explain the 6th verse, I shall first give a hint of its meaning. Avatari Prabhu Pracharila Sankirtan Eho Bhai Hetu Purve Kari Jache Shuchan. The Lord came to propagate Sankirtan. That is an external purpose, as I have already indicated. Avatar ek ache mukya beach Rasika Shekara Krishnera Shekarya Nij. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There is a principal cause for Lord Krishna's appearance. It grows from his own engagements as the foremost enjoyer of loving exchanges. Ati Gura Hetu She Trivida Prakar Damodara Swarup Hwete Jahara Prachar. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That most confidential cause is threefold. Swarup Damodar has revealed it. Swarup Gosai Prabhura Ati Antaranga Tahate Janera Prabhura Esha Prasanga. Swarup Gosai is the most intimate associate of the Lord. He therefore knows all these topics well. Prior to the Lord's acceptance of the renounced order, Purushottam Bhattacharya, a resident of Navadvip, desired to enter the renounced order of life. Therefore he left home and went to Benares, where he accepted the position of Brahmacharya from a Mayavadi sannyasi. When he became a brahmachari, he was given the name Sri Damodar Swarup. He left Benares shortly thereafter without taking sannyas, and he came to Nilachala, Jagannath Puri, where Lord Chaitanya was staying. He met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there and dedicated his life for the service of the Lord. He became Lord Chaitanya's secretary and constant companion. He used to enhance the pleasure potency of the Lord by singing appropriate songs, which were very much appreciated. Swarup Damodar could understand the secret mission of Lord Chaitanya, and it was by his grace only that all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya could know the real purpose of the Lord. Swarup Damodar has been identified as Lalita Devi, the second expansion of Radharani. However, text 160 of Kavi Karnapur's authoritative Agora Desha Deepika describes Swarup Damodar as the same Vishaka Devi who serves the Lord in Goloka Vrindavan. Therefore, it is to be understood that Śrī Swarup Damodar is the direct expansion of Radharani, who helps the Lord experience the attitude of Radharani. Radhikara Baba Murti Prabhura Antar Sheba Vaisesika Dasa Ute Nirantar Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The heart of Lord Chaitanya is the image of Shri Radhika's emotions. Thus feelings of pleasure and pain arise constantly therein. Purport: Lord Chaitanya's heart was full of the feelings of Srimati Radharani, and his appearance resembles hers. Swarup Damodar has explained his attitude as Radha Bhava Murti, the attitude of Radharani. One who engages in sense gratification on the material platform can hardly understand the Radha Bhava, but one who is freed from the demands of sense gratification can understand it. Radha Bhava must be understood from the Goswamis, those who are actually controllers of the senses. From such authorized sources, it is to be known that the attitude of Srimati Radharani is the highest perfection of conjugal love, which is the highest of the 5 transcendental mellows. And it is the complete perfection of love of Krishna. These transcendental affairs can be understood on 2 platforms. One is called elevated, and the other is called super elevated. The loving affairs exhibited in Dwarka are the elevated form. The super elevated position is reached in the manifestations of the pastimes of Vrindavan. The attitude of Lord Chaitanya is certainly super elevated. From the life of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, an intelligent person engaged in pure devotional service can understand that he always felt separation from Krishna within himself. In that separation, he sometimes felt that he had found Krishna and was enjoying the meeting. The significance of this separation and meeting is very specific. If someone tries to understand the exalted position of Lord Chaitanya without knowing this, he is sure to misunderstand it. One must first become fully self-realized. Otherwise, one may misidentify the Lord as Nagara, or the enjoyer of the damsels of Raja, thus committing the mistake of rasa bhasa, or overlapping understanding. Sheshlilaya Prabhu Krishna Vihara Umara Brahmamaya Jishta Arupalapa Maya Bada Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In the final portion of his pastimes, Lord Chaitanya was obsessed with the madness of separation from Lord Krishna. He acted in erroneous ways and talked deliriously. Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited the highest state of the feelings of a devotee in separation from the Lord. This exhibition was sublime because he was completely perfect in the feelings of separation. Materialists, however, cannot understand this. Sometimes materialistic scholars think he was diseased or crazy. Their problem is that they always engage in material sense gratification and can never understand the feelings of the devotees of the Lord. Materialists are most abominable in their ideas. They think that they can enjoy directly perceivable gross objects by their senses, and that they can similarly deal with the transcendental features of Lord Chaitanya. But the Lord is understood only in pursuance of the principles laid down by the Goswamis, headed by Swarup Damodar. Doctrines like those of the Nadiya Nagaris, a class of so-called devotees, are never presented by authorized persons like Swarup Damodar or the 6 Goswamis. The ideas of the Gauranga Nagaris are simply a mental concoction, and they are completely on the mental platform. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Premanande. Hare Krishna. So the most intimate and important aspects of the practice of bhakti are being presented by Kaviraj Goswami in this chapter. First, we're understanding that the potent and the potency are identical, just as one cannot separate heat or light from fire. Esha desha stitastyagner doshna vistarani yata parasya brahmana shaktis tateram akilam jagat. Later, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in teaching this principle to Sanatana Goswami, quotes this verse from the Vishnu Purana, in which he describes the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the source of all energies. And one can ascertain the presence of the Supreme Lord everywhere by the pervasiveness of his energies, which are one and different at the same time. And just as one can ascertain the presence of the spiritual soul within the body, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quoted many shastras. Keshagra Shatabhaga Sha Sharam Sha Shastra Vishatmukam Jivas Hukshma Sarupo Yam Sankyatito Hichitkana, describing how the living entity is a potency, one of the energies of the Lord in atomic form. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes how the entire body is illuminated by the presence of the soul. You can feel consciousness in the different parts of your body. We can hear from Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita how he begins to introduce himself through his energies. For instance, Punyo Gandha Prativyam Cha. Yesterday there was rain and we could smell the earth. That intoxicating smell like no other. The first rain after a long time, and then the smell of the earth. Krishna says, Punyo Gandha Prativyam Cha. That's me. Well, is it Krishna or is it his energies? Well, it's both, because Achinta Beda Beda Tattva. Even his external energies are part of him, although they're separated by consciousness. That is, they're separated by the consciousness of non-servant, of not in being engaged in Krishna's service. Ratertam yat pratyeta na pratyeta chatmani tadvidyarat manomayam yatapaso yatatamaha. Krishna, in this explanation to Brahma about the nature of the world and himself, says that anything that is not considered as connected to Krishna, know that to be my illusory energy, because everything's connected to me. There is nothing separate from Krishna at all. You're sitting on Krishna now. It's his energy. But he said, if you see anything different, then that's illusory. So when he describes himself in the Bhagavad Gita, he also says, if you see the energies and you understand that these are me, I'm the light of the sun and the moon, sound and ether, shabdake, shabdake purusham darshu. I'm the heat and fire, light of the sun and the moon, ability in all people. It's coming from Krishna. And sarvasya chaham hridi sanivishto matak smritir jnanam apunam cha. That intelligence that you're getting is coming from me. Forgetfulness coming from me. Everything. And in the internal energy of the Lord, we have the mood. The closer we come to Krishna, we find that there's the intensity of the serving mood is increased. The intensity is felt at the greatest height in Vrindavan. And then there are other realms where Krishna is served. The intensity is slightly different. And the representative of the most intense mood of service to Krishna is Srimati Radharani. And Kaviraj Goswami has quoted from the Bhagavatam the indicator of the presence of Srimati Radharani in Krishna's life. There are other sampradayas that don't have the benefit of the great souls like Madhavendra Puri down through Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu who directly reveal the mood of service of Srimati Radharani. And therefore, they wonder about that, or they outright say, well, we don't worship Srimati Radharani, we just worship Krishna. But all Vaishnavas accept the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Kaviraj Goswami has given the verse in the Bhagavatam in which Shukadeva Goswami is indirectly revealing the presence of Radharani, Aradhanam. He says, and there is the presence of the topmost servitor of the Lord. And therefore, from Aradhana, we get Srimati Radharani. It's the indirect indication of Srimati Radharani that is here revealed in the Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta in more detail through the intimate associates of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So the process of worshiping Krishna is done by approaching those who are most dear to him. And as we just heard here, Srimati Radharani is not only serving at the pinnacle of the mood of pure devotional service. It's the highest state, but she's also the devotee whom we can take shelter of. So when we chant Hare Krishna, we say Hare Krishna, and Hare is pointing directly to Srimati Radharani, and the pronunciation of that word, that name, Hare, means that
"Oh, energy of the Lord, Radharani, please let me take shelter of you." So this is a very intimate practice where we're saying Hare Krishna. And the mood of chanting is indicated by our acharyas, our conception, that is, of Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. And this, as Prabhupada writes earlier, we read the unceremonious love of the residents of Vrindavan. Unceremonious means there's no rules. They're only spontaneously worshiping Krishna from their loving mood without considering etiquette, normal etiquette. They only see that this is my best friend, this is my child, this is my lover. They see Krishna according to the lens of their mood. And this is the case everywhere. Shukadeva Goswami indicates this in the Bhagavatam, where he talks about those who have insufficient knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead see him as the impersonal Brahman. They don't understand the varieties of energy of the Lord. And those who have a little more understanding of the Lord's position worship him in reverence. Dasyam gatanam. They see themselves as strict servitors of the Lord, and they follow the rules and regulations. Sakam vrjaru krita punya punjaha. But those, he said, who have reached the highest perfection by krita punya punja, yes, Prabhupada says, heaps and heaps of pious activities. We're to understand by spiritually based pious activities or bhakti punya. They're playing with the Lord directly as friends in Vrindavan. Idam satam brahma sakana bhutya dasam gatanam paradaivatena mayashitanam naradarakena sakam vrjaru krita punya punjaha. This verse appears in the pastime of Aghasura. And of course, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Ye yata mam prapadyante tamstataiva bhajamyaham manavartante manusya partha sarvasha. As one surrenders unto me, I reciprocate accordingly. Prahlad says, the Lord is like a desire tree. It doesn't consider the lower or the higher. He's fulfilling everyone's desires accordingly. So by hearing the Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta, the moods of the most intimate devotees, and following, as we just heard, the Goswami's directions in the Shastra they left behind, one can traverse this most exalted path, especially by the mercy of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who didn't consider who was a fit or unfit candidate to come to the perfectional stage of devotional service. This is the great dispensation in this age of Kali Yuga, that although this is the most exalted path, in Kali Yuga, everyone is running a deficit of punya and is very much distracted. But if someone gives their heart and attention to Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, follows in the footsteps of the acharyas, like the six Goswamis, coming down through disciplic succession, then one can come to this highest conception of practice of devotional service, a step by step in due course of time, especially by the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. So now we'll take some reflections or questions from the reading or from the monologue. And one question here is from Vijay Damodar Prabhu. says, why do demons take the form of animals when fighting? Wouldn't it debilitate them in their ability to fight? Animals are good at fighting. They have all kinds of defense mechanisms built in. The figures, the different demons that Krishna fights and kills in Vrindavan are iconic. According to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, each one of them represents an anartha that arises in the heart of the conditioned soul. And Krishna kills them handily. So he indicates we should take shelter of Krishna to annihilate the anarthas within our hearts, whatever form they may come in. And a reflection from earlier, this is from Alex and Valentina. But if in spite of being an offender, one chants the holy names of Gaura Nityananda, he is very quickly freed from the reactions of his offenses. Therefore, one should first approach Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda or worship Guru Gauranga, and then come to the stage of worshiping Radha and Krishna. Much to the point of the last few chapters we've been reading in the Caitanya-Caritāmṛta,
Hare Krishna,
Yata Gaura
Guruvaraj.
Padaravinde. There's no possibility of approaching Radha and Krishna without going through Gaura and Nityananda. We read the other night in the Bhagavad Gita about how some people hear and then, because they're innocent, after hearing, they take the path of devotional service and realize the Lord. The Prabhupada says specifically in the purport that in this age, actually, there is no philosophy. People are simply misled. And to approach this highest of understandings requires great mercy. It's important in approaching the Lord through the process of devotional service that one consider oneself a mercy case and put oneself before the court and say, I'm a lost cause in all other ways. Please consider me, put me on the list of being a mercy case. Consider me in that category. Everybody thinks they know something in the material world, and this is an impediment. When Sanatana Goswami approached the Lord, he said, I don't know anything. Everyone says that I'm a great scholar, but actually, I'm so ignorant that I actually believe them. But I'm starting from zero. I don't know anything. Please instruct me. If one approaches Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda in this mood, then he or she can advance in the process of worshiping the Supreme Lord and become established in this Radha Krishna worship. Apara Gaurangi gives a reflection. Many times we are asked why we don't worship Lakshmi Devi on Diwali. I was talking to someone a few days back, and I said that we worship Srimati Radharani daily, and she is the source of all Lakshmis. By Krishna's arrangement, we happen to read today that section of Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta, which describes Srimati Radharani as Sarva Lakshmi on Diwali. Nice. Avantika question. You mentioned how Krishna once told Lord Brahma that everything is connected to him or in service of him, with the exception of the illusory external energy. At the same time, we see that Maya is used several times to assist in Krishna's pastimes. How can we understand this apparent contradiction? Actually, I would rephrase this. You mentioned how Krishna once told Brahma that everything is connected to him when used in his service, not or in his service. It becomes the illusory energy when we don't use it in service. And Maya is actually, there's Yoga Maya and Mahamaya, and they're interchangeable. So even as we're in the material world, when we adopt the serving mood, then we're assisted by Maya, but Yoga Maya is giving us insight into how to advance in devotional service. And Prabhupada gives the example that electricity is one energy, but it can be utilized to heat or cool. In fact, in my room, if you look here, there's that heater cooler, that white rectangle you see. It's a Fujitsu. It can put cold air or hot air. Does both things. So Maya, when we approach with the mood of trying to enjoy the material world and avoid Krishna, she gives us facility. And when we try to serve Krishna, then she assists us. Find this in the Bhagavad Gita. So I had to refresh where that verse is. Prabhupada uses Yoga Maya and Mahamaya interchangeably. Maybe it's 4th chapter. Someone can look it up. And Ajopi san avyaya ma bhutanam ishvaropi san. So the principle is that we determine the way the environment reacts to us. And when our mood is in service, then the reaction is different than when our intention is to serve ourselves, serve our own senses.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Examples given in the in the Srimad Bhagavatam. When Duryodhana berated Vidura and said, "You're not even part of this family," what an insult. Who are you? Because he was supporting the wrong political party. People become very heated about politics, in case you haven't noticed. He became very indignant and insulted Vidura in his own home. So Vidura was then, because he had the inclination to surrender everything to Krishna, at that moment, he used it as an excuse. In his heart, he thought, let me leave this place and go to meet Krishna in many pilgrimage places. So he left. And at that moment, he was being influenced by the internal potency of the Lord. Whereas Duryodhana, because he was berating a devotee of the Lord unnecessarily and out of anger out of his own lust, because he wanted to control the kingdom and envy, he was controlled simultaneously by the external potency. So Prabhupada points out there that it was Maya, but one was internal and the other was external, working simultaneously in the same room. Avantika, does that help?
Yes, Maharaj, that helps a lot.
Okay, good. I could read your lips. I could understand what you said. Shamarupa Prabhu said, I liked how a few weeks back in one of the japa sessions, you had mentioned that we should go on chanting to overcome the offenses in chanting. I was wondering, when can I get over the offenses in chanting? Your suggestion of go on chanting was very helpful. hopeful. Thank you very much. I'm so happy that verse gave you some hope. Namaparada yuktanam namanyeva harantyagam avishrani paruktani nam yevarta karanicha. It's right from the Shastra. It's so encouraging, isn't it? That go on. And there will be many missteps in the practice of devotional service, many disappointments. Even as you take more and more responsibility to spread the Krishna consciousness movement, you'll have many setbacks and disappointments dealing with people, processes, things getting reversed. But do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering loss or gain, victory or defeat. Because we're going on serving, following in the footsteps of Prabhupada and the other acharyas who took it up as their life and soul to push on the mission. And even if you have some difficulty or misstep, there's only one remedy, and that's to show up and keep doing your service. Even if you have some personal problem, weakness, then the Shastra says that because Krishna has entered your heart, he finds that one speck of sincerity and determination, and he'll fan it. You have to keep going and do your level best to continue, despite the obstacles or despite whatever shortcoming you may have. And don't get disappointed. Prabhupada writes about this in 331, when he says, you shouldn't resent the principle that you can't do it the way you want to do it. Just appreciate the fact that if you keep doing it, you'll be successful. And supadamulam bhajata priyasya taktanya bhavasa hare priyeshaha vikarma yachchot patitang katanchit dhunoti sarvam hridishani vishtaha. Bhagavatam says if you have some misstep and do vikarma, don't stop doing devotional service. The way to overcome it is to continue, because Krishna is there in your heart. He knows what your intention is. Intention is so powerful, isn't it? It's so subtle. You can't really measure it with a physical instrument. We were talking yesterday on the corporate call about gratitude. I was like wondering if you could get a meter somewhere at Ace Hardware to measure that, or measure your intention and put a little meter up to you. Yeah, I can see what your intention is. But Krishna, he has that little device. He puts it there on your heart. And you go, oh, I can see what your intention is. So if we work on that, what is my intention? Then everything grows from that. Don't let it sit, act on it. Don't let the voices that say, oh, you're not good enough, you can't do this, you're too fallen, you can't do it. Don't become disappointed. And also don't become disappointed by other people's shortcomings also, because other people who are connected to you may have their own shortcomings, and they may even blame it on you. But every person has to be responsible for flying their own airplane. Prabhupada mentions this in a purport. You're taking flying lessons, and at some point, the instructor is going to say, okay, today's the day you have to fly solo. No instructor. That first flight is going to be there somewhere. The more we ready ourselves for that and continue, despite what other people are doing, realize I have to take advantage of the instructions of the Acharya. Prabhupada says this in a lecture. The instructions of the Acharya, the spiritual master, the Shastra are all there. Okay, so they're there. But what are you doing about it? How are you taking advantage of it? Ye yatamam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. if you can find your intention and you can do something about it, even a little something, Krishna will reciprocate. That's the only exciting aspect of human life, is when we're able to connect to the instructions of the Shastra, to the Acharya, spiritual master, and actually use our own impetus to enact those instructions. Then we feel that connection. Then we have Ankit. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about his energies, especially in this chapter 10 and 15. Many of these energies and opulence of Krishna are which we can appreciate directly. We can meditate that if these energies and their related aspects are so beautiful and wonderful, then how much magnanimous Krishna will be, who is the source of all these energies which he is talking about. Oh, that's nice. What a nice meditation. You can see how amazing the material world is, or you can even see how amazing you are. If you look at yourself and you notice you, or you can notice the soul within others. Krishna says, it's charyavat pashyati kasyadinam. It's amazing. And that's just one atomic, sentient part of the complete whole. How amazing must the whole be? Tadiya Seva. Can we say that material energy, Maya, and illusory energy are synonymous? Yes. So Maya is the servant of the Lord. And according to our interaction, the intention we have when we interact with the Lord's energies, those energies will accommodate us. So we know from Bhagavad Gita that you get another body because when you leave this body and you have the intention to enjoy your senses, then material nature says, okay, very good. I will help you. Shotram, chakshu, sparshanam cha, rasanam, granam eva cha. You get a special tongue. You get a special ear. Everything grouped about the mind that you wanted by the reward of the external energy. But if you've developed an inner life of service and your intention is so strong that I just want to serve Krishna, you're moving about the world. Kamasya nendriya pritilabo jiveta yavata jivasya tattva jignasya narto yash cheha karmabhi is only incidental. You're only just moving around the world, maintaining yourself so you can keep on serving. And your internal serving mood has become so strong when you leave the world, then Maya, Yoga Maya, gives you opportunity to achieve a spiritual body so that you can serve Krishna. Just like electricity, it's one energy, but it can be processed or exhibited differently according to how it is processed through the Fujitsu machine. Sukeshri said, Duryodhana was very envious and wicked. Where did he go after death? I don't know, I have to research where Duryodhana ended up. I don't remember. Srivata, something I used to do a lot is read verses in Padyavali for spiritual inspiration, for fun, and for the prayers that are in it. Sometimes I came across verses that describe pastimes between Radharani and Krishna. When reading these verses, even though they make me happy, I have this growing sense of guilt, knowing that I'm simply not qualified to read anything like this. I'm most confident I do not have any real taste. What should my attitude be for such verses? Should I refrain completely from reading them ever? I know I'm not qualified, but some of these verses make me very happy. So Prabhupada mentions that we should not boycott Radharani because of the exalted nature of the topics about her and her interactions with Krishna. However, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had revealed the way in which we should hear those pastimes. First of all, just backing up one more step, Bhagavatam itself says that Shraddhanvito na shrunuyad anavard varnayedya, that Vikriditam Vrajavadur Virahamcha Vishnu Shraddhanvito na shrunuyad atavarnayedya. Shraddhanvito means we should have the proper fortification of Shraddha, of our faith, and therefore context through which we hear the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. Proper context. Then, by that proper context, which you should understand that Shastra is 80%. 80%, you can measure it for yourself, Sambandha Gyan. And the reason is Siddhupadesh. In order to come to the perfectional stage, you have to know who you are and where you're going. And be clear on that. That's why Sambandha Gyan is so prominent. You can hear all kinds of things, or you can do abhideya practice, but if you don't know who you are and where you're going, then you won't be successful. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, we should hear these pastimes incidentally. That is, for instance, if you're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, you go through the 9 cantos. When you get to the 9th canto, you'll see the last few chapters. You're hearing about dynasties. You're hearing about all kinds of interactions between kings and queens and various precursor families and dynasties leading up to Krishna's appearance in the Yadu dynasty. And some of it may seem to you or to someone tedious, but the first 9 cantos are preparing our faith. So when we enter into the 10th canto, we have proper context and understanding of what we're hearing. Shraddhanvito na shrunuyad. Our faith is properly fortified. And incidentally means don't skip the 9th canto. And you say, okay, I'll just skip to the 10th canto, or I'll just read the parts of the Chaitanya Charitamrita about Radha and Krishna. You do read them, but you read them in context. And when Prabhupada gave the 10th canto in the form of the Krishna book, he did it with context because that's necessary. Shraddhanvito. You have to have that proper faith and understanding of the context when you're hearing the pastimes of the 10th canto. So just as when you go on Govardhan Parikrama, you come to a rough patch, you know, then, okay, I won't walk this part. I'll catch a ride and go past it. And then I'll go to the smooth path. Just read everything all the way through. And in the process, hear those sections until one comes to Nishta, Ruchi, and elevated state where you understand that the modes of nature no longer have effect. Then there will be a natural awakening of appreciation for a particular hearing process. That should be done in the association of advanced devotees who are in a similar mood. And now we've come to the most important part of our program, because today we have one of our very exalted members who's going to give a presentation. One of my all-time favorites, Madhva Prabhu, who will be speaking. And he's somewhere about in the Zoom room, I'm assuming.
Yes, Prabhu.
And will be coming out shortly in the next couple of minutes. Am I correct on that? Okay.
Prabhu, he's on the Zoom. Maybe the host can, yeah, thank you.
And while I'm waiting for him to make himself known,
So, Madhav, you can start talking. You're on
I'm
mute.
going to read the last reflection. This is from Sri Madhava Mahotava, Prabhu. I really appreciate your instructions in this class about being equipoised despite reversals. The more I try to preach by your mercy, the more the challenges increase. It reminds me of when Srila Prabhupada says, when you preach, you'll have so many enemies. Oh boy, yeah. Boy, I mean, we should write a book of stories about all the obstacles, and there's lots of war stories. When Sankirtan devotees who work together, I know some of my god brothers, god sisters in the old days when we worked together in airports and many other places, we accumulate a treasure chest of all kinds of war stories. I remember in the St. Louis airport, now that I can't resist, there was this Christian preacher who used to travel a lot. And whenever he'd come into the terminal, I'd be there with Divyanga or some other devotee, Shankar Pandit. We were distributing books there in our terminal at the airport. And then he'd come in and he'd stand up on a step or something like that. And at the top of his lungs, he would start berating the devotees like he was in a holy roller church, and just like denouncing everything that were from the devil. And he'd go on for 5-10 minutes. And I mean, every time he came through, and we never knew when it was going to happen. And there were lots of others too. We'll write a book about it someday. But that's, yes, in the process of going out into public and distributing Krishna consciousness, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, when you face such opposition, you get chid rakta for your chid sharira. You got some skin in the game. No one can say you didn't put yourself on that field and bleed for Lord Chaitanya. And that's really powerful. Even devotees recognize it. I mean, Lord Chaitanya recognizes that those who put themselves out, and everybody knows, what to speak of Lord Chaitanya. So that is something very, very valuable, because you can't get it through book knowledge. You actually go out and do the work, and you feel the opposition, you feel the pain, and that is part of the maturing process. I also realized that I had to be very, very gentle with the people, because I could, trying to bend people to our will and just assuming that I'm right, they're wrong, and not trying to be a kind friend. It always made it worse. Anyway, preaching, especially going out into public and meeting people, it's like kung fu fighting all day long on a subtle level. And if you kung fu fight all day long, you'll become a kung fu master, and not just in preaching, but in all aspects of your life. That's why it's so important for a community like ours to have that experience of everyone taking some risk and going out and doing. I'm not talking about risk from the virus, be careful. I'm talking about the risk of your ego being crushed by someone who refuses you and so forth. So we have Madhav Prabhu, who looks like he's already gone through college and graduate school by now during the pandemic, from the looks of things. Madhav Prabhu, we're so happy that you're making a presentation today, and now I'm handing over the forum entirely to you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. There are lots and lots of senior Vaishnavas assembled here. So
Madhav unmuted? He was there and then
yes.
he disappeared.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Maharaj, are you able to hear me? I don't know.
Yeah, let's just wait for him to acknowledge that.
Okay.
Hearing anybody earlier, something's wrong with his sound.
Should I start? I don't think Maharaj is. Okay.
Wait, right?
Just wait. I think it's better to wait.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
Okay.
sorry for that.
No problems. Hari Krishna, dear devotees, Guru Maharaj is able to hear you, so Madhav can continue. And
Please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. There are lots and lots of senior Vaishnavas assembled here, and I am very unqualified in that regard. So please forgive my shortcomings in advance. Today, I will be talking a little bit about the loving exchanges between Mother Yashoda and Lord Krishna. And these are lessons from the Damodar Leela. And today is the auspicious occasion of Diwali, which also happens to be the day the Damodar Leela happened. And so, please rest me. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Krishna Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the Damodar Leela is a pastime where we can see the intimate relationship between Mother Yashoda and Lord Krishna. Mother Yashoda is one of the topmost devotees of Lord Krishna, and she exemplifies the Vatsalya Ras, or the parental affection for Lord Krishna. And the Damodar Leela shows how bhakti is supreme, and that is what pleases Lord Krishna the most. So at the start of Canto 10, Chapter 9 in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is where the Damodar Leela is described by Vasudeva, he writes about how Mother Yashoda is constantly engaged in serving Krishna and constantly engaged in listening to his glories, singing his glories. And he writes, Yani Yani Gitani Tad Bala Charitani Cha. Mother Yashoda is singing various songs of Lord Krishna about his childhood pastimes. Dadinin mantane kale smaranti tanya gayate. So she's doing this while churning the butter, and she is singing the glories of Lord Krishna while personally engaging in serving him and churning the butter for him. So in this regard, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes how Mother Yashoda churns the butter herself rather than giving the task to a maidservant. And she is the queen of Vrindavan. She is basically the ruler of the land there. But still, she engages in personally serving Lord Krishna and personally engages in his devotional service. So over here, we can see how Mother Yashoda is very humble, and she maintains a service attitude towards Lord Krishna. And she performs very loving devotional service unto Krishna, and Krishna appreciates this. So there are various pastimes between Mother Yashoda and Lord Krishna, and one of them is, of course, the Damodar Leela. And so Krishna, as we all know, Krishna comes to Mother Yashoda. He stops her from churning the butter, and he asks to drink Mother Yashoda's milk. And in the verse in this chapter, Vyasadeva writes that Krishna does this in order to increase the transcendental pleasure of Mother Yashoda. So Mother Yashoda performs very loving devotional service unto Lord Krishna, and Krishna sees this and he reciprocates back, and he shows this very intimate connection, this intimate relationship between the devotee and the Lord. And we see that that power of bhakti draws Lord Krishna, and that's what pleases him the most. So Mother Yashoda sees the milk pan boiling, and the milk is about to flow out of the pan. And so she leaves Lord Krishna. And here Krishna becomes very angry in a very childish way. So in the Bhagavatam, they write how Krishna has false tears in his eyes, and he has a mood of anger. He has this childish anger in him. And it's written that this is basically another way for him to express his love for Mother Yashoda. Over here, Krishna is acting in this childish way just to please Mother Yashoda and just to reciprocate her loving devotional service for him. And this is the power and this is the intimacy of the relationship between the devotee and the Lord. Over here, we see Vatsalya or parental affection between Mother Yashoda and Lord Krishna. And the devotee is acting to please the Lord, and the Lord reciprocates back. So then over here, Krishna he breaks the pot, and then he runs away with some butter. And here, Krishna is constantly looking to see, oh, did Mother Yashoda come? He's very fearful. And Krishna's fear is very interesting because we know Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is the controller of all the universes, and he is in charge of this whole world. So what is there for him to fear? But still, we see over here that Krishna is, in a very childish way, he's fearful of Mother Yashoda. And he is constantly looking, oh, is she here? Oh no, I have to be careful. And here in the Bhagavatam, verse 8, it's written, because of having stolen, he was looking all around with great anxiety, suspecting that he might be chastised by his mother. And so here we see Lord Krishna is subjugating himself unto Mother Yashoda in order to reciprocate her bhakti, her loving devotional service. And so what we see from here is that if one wants to have an intimate relationship with the Lord, they must undertake devotional service. And that devotional service is so powerful that it can even capture the Lord and captivate him. So Krishna, when Mother Yashoda finds out, he breaks the pot. He broke the pot, and the pot that Mother Yashoda was churning, Mother Yashoda runs after Krishna, and Krishna runs away. And here again, we see Krishna is fearful of Mother Yashoda. And we see this dependence of Lord Krishna onto Mother Yashoda. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that when Mother Yashoda simply showed Krishna the stick in her hand, Krishna admitted to being an offender and began to cry like an ordinary child. So here again, Prabhupada elaborates in one of the purports that in competition between the devotee and Lord Krishna, Krishna sometimes agrees to be defeated. And that is the that is the power of bhakti. Lord Krishna here is crying for Mother Yashoda, and he's scared of Mother Yashoda. And that's just because of that intimate relationship that they have between them that is created due to Mother Yashoda's loving devotional service unto him. And so here, Prabhupada writes how the Krishna's internal energy or yoga maya was brought to work by Krishna, and he agrees to be bound by Mother Yashoda, and he agrees to be caught by her. And so another important point here is written in another purport, where Prabhupada writes that yogis cannot capture Krishna by severe penances and austerities, but Mother Yashoda, despite all obstacles, was finally able to catch Krishna without difficulty. This is the difference between a yogi and a bhakta. And so here what Prabhupada is trying to tell us is he's explaining how beautiful bhakti is. He's telling us how excellent bhakti is and how powerful it is. Here, Mother Yashoda is able to capture Krishna even when yogis spend thousands and thousands of years performing austerities and penances, and still they cannot realize Krishna in his true form. But here, Mother Yashoda is able to catch Krishna without difficulty, and that shows how powerful her bhakti is. So various poets over the time have described the Damodar Leela and the Damodar Ashtakam that we're singing in this month of Kartik. It very beautifully describes Krishna and this pastime. And in the second verse, they write, Rudantam mohur netra yugmam rijantam. He's crying and rubbing his eyes again and again. And Krishna is acting in this childish way. He's crying and he's rubbing his eyes. And he's doing this to please Mother Yashoda. And he's doing this to reciprocate that love that Mother Yashoda gives to him. So I'd like to close on a verse by Queen Kunti. And here, this is part of Queen Kunti's prayers. And Queen Kunti herself, a very, very great devotee of the Lord, she is reflecting on this pastime, and she is bewildered by how the things are happening. She's bewildered by how Krishna is being bound by Mother Yashoda. Gopyadade tvaigrata gasidam tavad yate dashashu kalilanjana sambhramaksham vaktram niniya bhaya bhavanaya sitasya samam vimohayati bhir api advibheti. My dear Krishna, Yashoda took up a rope to bind you when you committed an offense, and your perturbed eyes overflooded with tears, which washed the mascara from your eyes. And you were afraid, though fear personified is afraid of you. This sight is bewildering to me. So here, Queen Kunti is bewildered by how Krishna, someone who even fear personified is fearful of, Krishna is being bound by Mother Yashoda, and he's crying. He's crying for his offense, and Queen Kunti is bewildered by this pastime of the Lord. So through this pastime, we see how powerful bhakti is, and how Krishna is pleased the most by performing loving devotional service. Mother Yashoda is the topmost Vaishnava in the Vatsalya Ras, or parental affection, and she exemplifies the service attitude and the humility that we as devotees should serve the Lord with. In the Bhagavatam, it's in that same chapter, they write how Krishna becomes pleased if you glorify Mother Yashoda. And the mercy that Mother Yashoda receives is so excellent that nobody, including Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, none of them have received that same level of mercy that Mother Yashoda has received from the Lord. And therefore, Lord Krishna is pleased if you glorify Mother Yashoda. And so Mother Yashoda, as I was trying to explain in this short presentation, she has a service attitude. She's constantly engaged in the devotional service of Lord Krishna. Even when she is performing her daily tasks, she remembers Krishna while doing them. And that shows the attitude and the mood we as devotees should serve the Lord with. We should maintain the humility, and we should strive to please the Lord and render loving devotional service unto him. And that's what pleases him the most. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Sadhu, sadhu. Madhav, thank you very much. It's very moving and well presented. The pictures were exquisite, and your presentation so well refined that it touched the heart, stimulated the mind, and so appropriate on this day. Thank you for coming forward with your very special devotional impetus. You're getting accolades coming in on the chat box. Everyone really liked it.
Thank
I
you
think
very
that
much,
we'll
Maharaj.
remember this day, especially because of this presentation. It was so well done. Please come back again and again to give more presentations.
Thank you
Will
very much, Maharaj.
you do that?
Yes, I will try my best.
Haribo, Hare Krishna. Everyone who liked the presentation, please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I just want to thank Shamarupa Prabhu for teaching Madhav or the entire, the topic of Damodar Leela this semester at Youth Club. Thank you, Shamarupa Prabhu.
Madhav or son?
So today we're also mourning the loss of two great Vaishnavas. Krishnanandini passed away yesterday. She'd been fighting cancer for some time now. She was one of Prabhupada's disciples. Her story is amazing, how she came to Krishna consciousness. I don't have the time to tell it now, but perhaps Nirkula, who knows the story better than I do, can tell it sometime. And also my dear godbrother, Vaidurya Damodar Maharaj, who was, his brahmachari name was Mukunlal, who's, many of you know Vanamali, who comes here to ISV, and that's her father. And he was a sannyasi, and he had some severe physical breakdown, and then he tried to go through a medical procedure, and there were complications, and he just left last night or yesterday. So we can see, anyway, both of them, such exalted devotees who gave their entire lives for preaching Krishna consciousness, will be very deeply missed. Mukunlal Brahmachari, later on Damodar Maharaj, became involved with Krishna consciousness around 1967, and served throughout his whole life, and never stopped chanting ever. Started many centers, and has is just on to more and more service. And Krishnanandini too is known throughout the world as being an inspiration to thousands and thousands of devotees. One of the founders of the Grihastha Vision team, and just a wonderful presenter of Krishna consciousness, a positive influence in many people's lives. So I'm happy to have known both of them, and we can also take it that by their example, that we also follow in their footsteps from pillar to post. Just use your time to develop in Krishna consciousness, develop your portfolio of practice and service as much as possible, because at any time, doesn't mean you have to be old. Old means about to die, and nobody knows when that is. So be prepared. As Prabhupada said, when he was getting to leave his body, he said to some disciples, don't think this won't happen to you. As that's the tendency, to think, oh, that's somebody else, not me. Okay, now we have a few announcements. Malini will be talking about what's going on with Sankirtan, which is in full swing now. Our wheels are turning, and we have a great opportunity ahead of us. Today is Diwali, and then we're coming all the way up to Gita Jayanti, which is World Gita Day on the 25th. May Lord Jesus help us. And also, I'll go all the way till January 7th. But in this unprecedented time, we really want to make we really want to shine and do something wonderful. So it'll require the ingenuity of each individual, working, not only working together as a team, sharing best practices, but each one of us can take some responsibility for doing our level best. As long as you do your level best, then we've always had this philosophy, a lot, each doing a little, will be victorious. So let's try for that. Malini?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept
Hare
my humble
Krishna.
obeisances. All Krishna
Jai.
Prabhupada.
Praise to Prabhupada.
Prabhu, as I just wanted to give an update on where we are so far in the marathon. From Motel Gita, we did 15,000 Bhagavad Gita so far. For the rest of the hand-to-hand distribution, where we had a goal of 20,000 Gitas, we have done so far about 5,000 Bhagavad Gitas. So we have still 15,000 more to go for the hand-to-hand, and Motel Gita has to 15 more thousand. So totally it would bring us to our goal of 50,000 Bhagavad Gitas, at least. And we had a traveling Sankirtan team that went to North, and they had a great success. Kautukarna Prabhu and team, they distributed over 200 Bhagavad Gitas in just 2 days, and they collected more than $600 Lakshmi. Tomorrow, since it is Govardhan Puja Day, as you mentioned, Prabhu, that each one wanted to do a little bit, we're requesting if every family at ISV can take at least 2 cases of Bhagavad Gitas to distribute. We did some math, and for us to meet our goal, we need at least 625 cases of Bhagavad Gita to go. And if each family can take 2 cases, then that, and we have about 200 families within ISV. So they can try to distribute those 2 cases of Bhagavad Gita either to their friends, family, or they can send it over to other parts of North America. If they have any family members there, we can ship it for them. They can try to distribute for the holidays. They can give it to their teachers, kids' teachers. They can give to the delivery people who come to their home. Like we can provide different ideas, but we are requesting everyone to take at least 2 cases of Bhagavad Gita. If we cannot pick it up tomorrow at the temple, we will actually make an arrangement to deliver those books to you. So if anybody would like to take those cases of Bhagavad Gita, please let us know, and we can deliver it to you. And today we also wanted to try something of reaching out to other businesses, because Diwali, we gave a total of 2,645 Bhagavad Gitas within Indian stores. So that was a huge success. Hansapriya was instrumental in doing this. So thank you so much, Hansapriya, for this. So we wanted to continue that, but this time we wanted to say like holiday gifts instead of Diwali gifts, and try to reach out to businesses and other places. So that's we're going to try using the yellow pages to see if we can reach out to any Indian business owners, accountants, insurance agents. This is actually Madhav Govinda Prabhu's idea. He said that he has tried and he's been seeing success. So we are going to try that as well, Prabhu. This is the update so far. Thank you, Prabhu.
What is your assessment? How are we doing anyway? On a scale of 1 to 10, are we surging at 9, 9.5, or are we down at a 2?
Prabhuji, we are doing well, Prabhu. We are at close to 8.9, but we can do better.
Okay. Although, and I made an announcement too, I want to reiterate it. You know, someday this pandemic will be over. Hold on, somebody's trying to call me. Goodness gracious, I'm so sorry.
It's a Facebook call.
I know. So sorry. Yay. Okay. Although you may see here, there, and everywhere people walking around not taking too much care during the pandemic. There is a spike. It seems to be unprecedented. So don't get fatigued and think, oh, I already did this for a while. It's a little while longer until things start to come down again. There are some countries where it's really low and people do have the opportunity to go out and move around, but be very careful because it spreads very easily. And so we don't want to endanger any of our devotees. So work smarter, not harder, and be very careful as you work, please. My humble request. Thank you for considering my request. Thank you, Malini, very much. Anything else?
Prabhu, Sukheshwari has an announcement that the Gita contest flyers, registration and flyer is ready. So, Sukheshwari,
Oh, this is
would
very
you like
important. Sukheshwari, you want to give a...
Yes.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. So we will have value education contest that we're going to start off. Basically, what's going to happen is, as we had already announced, it'll be chapter 12 for all the kids. And this is going to be a unique contest this time. And our goal is to actually do it nationwide, worldwide at some point. This time, what we're going to do is we will have everybody learn the chapter 12. And after you're done with it, you will actually take part in a test, which will be 30 minutes. It will have a 15 questions, which will be multiple choice. And there will be 5 questions, which is going to be short answer. And this is a timed test. And so what we're going to have is we will have everybody log in by 9:15 on December 13th. And I will be sending out all the registration forms and all the details out in the email. And you log in by 9:15. The test starts at 9:30. 9:30 to 9:55 is that 25 minutes you have to answer 20 questions. And then you will not have access to the question paper anymore. So out of all the kids, now that everybody is this is going to happen on Zoom, they can take help of everybody in the family, right? So because of that, we are going to actually have an interview process for those kids who are able to, get really good points in their test. And then from there, we're going to get the winners. And our prizes are really wonderful. So please, we have prizes of iPad and laptops. So please make sure that you let as many people know, around your vicinity, your friends, your school friends, anybody that you know, any kind of organization they're connected with, any kind of like Tamil school, Telugu school, all different kinds of schools. Please just make it a big deal. This is open to everybody. And I want to thank Shruti Priya Mataji, who's been helping me doing a lot of advertisement in Chicago. So Mataji, yes, please, you can give it out to everybody around the country. So we want to make this as much, as many kids that they can take part. So everybody who actually takes part gets a downloadable Bhagavad Gita, which is going to be our main important reason that we want to be able to distribute more number of Bhagavad Gitas with this. So please, we need your help to be able to do this advertisement and increase it. And we have exactly 1 month for the contest. And it's just 12th chapter. And our Gita champion is also on 12th chapter, so which will actually make it easy. So please just make sure I will be sending out all the details and WhatsApp groups and emails and everybody. So please share the flyers and the registration forms. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sukheshwari. This is a very important program. It has potential now that we're doing it online to spread in many different ways. So please test it out, stress test it, and bring as many people as you can. We'd like to see it at a full-blown level. Thank you for all that you do. And now Jai Madhava Prabhu, who's having great success in presenting the Bhakti community. It's spreading all over the world now, actually. And we're fine-tuning it more and more here at ISV. It's become a legitimate portal for people to take shelter of the process of Krishna consciousness. We're getting more and more participation from teachers and students all over the world. And Jai Madhava Prabhu will give a couple of announcements now to bring our attention to how we can continue to grow the program.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances, all worship Srila Prabhupada. So as Vaisesika Prabhu said, we are spreading Bhakti community as many centers as possible. And I just wanted to give a quick overview of what Bhakti community is for some of the newcomers and how we can help spread this far and wide. I would share my screen and let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So Bhakti Community is an online community for newcomers to Bhakti Yoga or ISKCON. So whenever you meet a newcomer, whether giving this books out or your friends and family, please do extend Bhakti Community to them. We have updated our Bhakti Community teaser. So I'm pretty happy and excited to showcase the new teaser, which you can share with your friends and family. So just a second, I forgot, I may not have shared this sound. So let me reshare just to be sure that I have shared it with sound. Yes, I forgot. Okay, so let me know if you can't hear the sound.
Are you overwhelmed by constant challenges or hardships? Are you unhappy despite working hard day in and day out? Are you seeking deeper meaning and purpose in your life? Welcome to the Bhakti Community, an online community of spiritual seekers dedicated to the art and practice of Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of love and gratitude. In this online community, you will find all the resources you need to make the joy of a home spiritual practice a part of your everyday life. Starting with our 21-day Spiritual Fitness Challenge, you will learn to build healthy new habits based on the time-tested practices of Bhakti Yoga, harmonizing your body, mind, and spirit. You can also join our Bhakti Circle, which is a close-knit online program where you can meet teachers and fellow seekers as you dive deeper into the timeless wisdom of Bhakti Yoga that leads you from confusion to clarity. Check out our mantra music program, which offers regular mantra meditations, as well as uplifting music to calm the mind and nourish the heart. And this is just the beginning. We offer a wide variety of programs to support your immersion into Bhakti Yoga. Equipped with each of these programs, it is our goal at the Bhakti Community to empower you to experience the healing, wisdom, and transformation of Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of love and gratitude. Please visit www.bhakticommunity.com to join our community. Please follow us on Facebook and YouTube. We welcome you.
So we are pretty excited how this teaser has come about. It will be uploaded to Facebook and YouTube later today evening or tomorrow morning. So please do share with your friends and families. It's lots of hard work has been put in by all the teachers at Bhakti Community, and even all the volunteers have come together. So please do spread the message far and wide. So just a quick recap. Whenever you come across any newcomer, either while distributing books or friends and families, please go to bhakticommunity.com/invite-newcomers. And when you go there, you will see a document which has an email template, which you can just copy paste, make minor tweaks as you need, and send it to to the people who have distributed books or you come in contact with. Or you can also there is a WhatsApp message available as well, which you can, it's a short message catering for WhatsApp, so you can copy paste and send it to. I do want to thank, just a second, I just wanted to show how this looks like. I do want to thank Kautu Karno Prabhu as well as Akshay Prabhu. They have been very diligently sending emails to whoever they come across with. So you can see they just copy paste it with changing the name and some minor modification. So this way they are introducing. And this is very helpful. People are joining. They do respond to this email and they do join the community. So please, thank you so much, Kautu Karno Prabhu and Akshay Prabhu, and do continue to do that. In addition to that, we also have Bhakti Community cards and bookmarks, as you can see. We have cards if you want. It's available at ISV Bookshed as well as Booksmarks. Both of them are available. And we also started ordering stickers. Just a first batch came early this week, and it's very beautiful. Ananga Gopinga Mataji has started using it, and it stays with the book. So wherever book goes, the sticker will also go. So that's another way in case you need stickers as well, or bookmarks or cards. They look like this. Cards are similar to the visiting cards typically, and bookmarks are again a very short but nicely, beautifully designed bookmarks. So both the front and back are available here, which you can see, and it's available at Bookshed. And if you need me, please write an email to hi@bhakticommunity.com or get in touch with Tarun Prabhu or Venudhari Prabhu, and they'll be able to help you out. Last but not least, we do have a lot of service opportunities. The community is growing, and we continue to need people to help out onboarding newer partners. Quite a few ISKCON centers are coming on board, so we need quite a few help there. Video editing, marketing, and social media management. So in case you're looking for service, then please do reach out. One more announcement I did want to make was the Bhakti community Facebook. We have around 300 people who have joined. So as you can see, every week videos do get posted. This week, Bharat created a nice video about transformation. So please do like and share and spread with your friend and family. So it's a very nice clip about how matter can be transformed to spread by following Bhakti Yoga. So please do share it. Our YouTube currently only has 19 subscribers. We need at least 100 subscribers to get a custom name. So please do subscribe so that we increase it to 100 and we can change it. And lastly, we just launched the Gita fundraiser yesterday. I will post it on ISV's Facebook later today morning. This is to request all of us to reach out to our friends and family so that they can donate. All the donation will go to ISV's book Sankirtan team so that they can use it to place Bhagavad Gita at various hospitals. So please do share the fundraiser. It's on the Fender Spark page right now, and it'll be on ISV page later today morning. So I just want, those are the announcements for today. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Jai Madhava Prabhu, for the tireless work you're doing to grow the Bhakti community. Bhakti community ki.
Jai.
Sharirat Vijaja Jodindriya Taheka Jive Pele Ishaya Shabhate Dharma Jayajipayati Loba Moisudhati Take Jeta Katita Shanshare Krishna Bodha Doyamoy Kori Bhare Jivajay Saprasarana Dilobai Shayanamrita Paz Radha Krishna Gunadam Premedako Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta Premedako Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta Mahachare Govinde Namakamadi Vaishnave Kalpa Punya Patam Rajan Vishwasodarjai Sade Sarva Dukkanam Hanirasya Upajayate Prasannan Chetaso Yashu Aryapatishtete Tvayokra Bhukta Shranganda Vasalamkala Charchita Uchishta Bodhino Dasya Stavamayam Jayimahi Namashishtam Manamapi Shachiputra Matra Sarupam Shirupam Tasyagrajam Uruparim Koshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaramoho Radhika Madhasham Tato yasya pratita kripaya Shri Gurum tam natosmi. Hey Guru Gyanadadina Bando Swaranda Tata Kanaika Sindo Vrindavana Sina Hitavatar Prasida Radha Pranaya Pracharo. Hey Dina Bando Koranaika Sindo Kuru Prasadam Maimandade Laksha Parade Bahupapagade Tadpada Padne Stumatishta Krishne. Translations, please. Other translations, please. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Shachi Mata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami, and his older brother, Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, and the divine Radha Kunds and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Shri Radhika and Madhava and Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool, everyone, and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore, grace me with your mercy, so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. Altogether, the lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us a shade for your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over 3 worlds. Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevalabha Gati Sadma. Bando mui sabadana mate Jahara prasade bai bhavato riyaja. Krishna prapti hoy jaha hoy te.
Dhamma Bhakya Chitete Kuriya Aikya Arna Kori Ho Mane Asha Prashare Pure Sarva Asha Jai Prashare Pure Sarva Asha Che Jame Jame Prabhu She Divya Gyan Hare Prakashito Prema Bhakti Ja Hoite Abhidya Vinasa Jate Prema Bhakti Ja Hoite Abhidya Vinasa Jate Bhakti ja hoite apidya vinasa jate prema bhakti ja hoite apidya vinasa jate Tere gai jahara churito Tere gai jahara charito Tere gai jahara charito Jaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Samiti Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatari Shatarine Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Jaya Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Gaura 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 Nityananda Jai Shri Conchatato Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Lord Premanande Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We need more dancers. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Go Ramona, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Go Radha Kripa, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. More dancing. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Shruti Priya, Prema Kishore. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Back home, back to Godhead now. Let's go. Ready? Hey! Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All back to Godhead. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Premanande Bhajare. Oh, Kishore, Kishori. Oh, Radha Gopinatha. Radha Damodara. Radha Vrindavan Chandra. Radha Shama Sundar. Radha Giridhari. Radha Mana Mohan. Radha Bhakti Hari. Radha Ramana. Gandharvaka Giri Hari Bhajare. Hey Radha Govinda Gopala Hare. Gopala Hare. I say Shri Bhagavan Ko Mere Bhara Bhara Pranam Hai. I say Shri Bhagavan Ko Mere Bhara Bhara Pranam Hai. Thai go to pray Manande Hari Hari Bo. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Privrajakacharya Shtotarishta Shishiman Apai Charana Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Privrajakacharya Shtotarishta Shishiman Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Kali Vaishnava Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai.
Prem Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gokupina Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Navdeep Dham Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai Sambheda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Damodar Leela Ki Jai, Shri Diwali Ki Jai. All glories to some of the devotees. All glories to some of the devotees. All glories to some of the devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo Vanchakalpatarubhishcha Kripasindho Pyaevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Please keep the transcendental vibration going. Look forward to seeing you all soon. Hare Krishna. Can everyone please unmute and say Hare Krishna?
Hare
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
I want to tell you a story.
Yes.
Very short. I was just on the Japanese Srimad Bhagavatam call on Thursday, and two of the longest, the most senior, most devotees there, Madhu Mangal and his wife Jamuna, they had Jamuna Devi's mother living with them for the last 5 years in their house. And she had Alzheimer's. So basically, they served her really hand and foot for the last 5 years. And of course, they have a full-blown program in their temple, in their house, which is, just like a temple. So she was taking prasadam, hearing Hare Krishna, hearing all the classes. She would sit and listen to the classes, but because she had Alzheimer's, it was advanced, and she didn't really speak. And she never chanted. And she passed away just last Wednesday, the day before I gave the class, which is I give class, it's 1:30 in the afternoon, Pacific Standard Time. It's 6:30 in the morning there. So, I've known Jamuna and Madhu Mangal for many, many years. Been going to Japan since 1979. And when I heard the news, then much of the Bhagavatam class was dedicated to talking about, the passing of his mother. I spoke about some of my realizations about what it's like and how to deal with it and everything like that. And that was at the beginning of the class, and at the end of the class, Madhu Mangal Prabhu was telling the devotees how his mother had chanted Hare Krishna, the only time they heard her say it. And actually, she was still there. Her body was still there because she just recently passed away within 12 hours or something. And so Madhu Mangal said, just recently, after Bhagavatam class, I always say, can everyone unmute and say Hare Krishna? So just in the last couple of weeks, I had said, can everyone unmute and please say Hare Krishna? So she could hear, obviously, everybody saying Hare Krishna, and Jamuna and Madhu Mangal said Hare Krishna, and she sat up in her chair and she said, Hare Krishna. And so they were saying, for them, it was a huge celebration because they didn't know she was going to leave. And then she left very soon after that, like a week later or something, I understand. And I was just thinking how valuable it is. We get to chant Hare Krishna all the time. And we should take advantage as many times as we can. But if somebody else can say Hare Krishna, Jahamil, Prabhupada said, only once was necessary. Only once. He didn't have to say 3 times. Even one time, Narayan. So we can remember how fortunate we are and keep that vibration going. Don't think it's an ordinary thing. That's all that's required to make advancement in devotional service. Don't consider it an ordinary thing. Understand how it's the best thing we've ever gotten. Try to give it to as many other people as possible with your heart and soul, and try to take advantage of it as much as possible in this lifetime without any hesitation, and you'll be successful. Could everyone try one more time, unmute and say Hare Krishna?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Hari Bol.
Happy Diwali,
Hare
everyone.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Happy Diwali, everybody.
Hare Krishna. Happy Deepavali.
All Hare Krishna.